We're now talking to some of the community leaders of the Markham area in the Greater Toronto area. These are the leaders of the Gujarati Hindu communities of the area. And a lot of questions have been raised recently with regard to the tensions between the Hindu and Sikh communities, the allegations of Hindu phobia, and more importantly, the question of security, something that the Indian government has also flagged. But the reality is also more nuanced at the same time. There have been increasing problems over the last few years, particularly with the rising amount of immigration of students, the economic collapse, as well as the housing crisis. So we'll be speaking to these people here about how they view this and what is actually happening in the Toronto area. Thank you very much, all of you, for speaking to us. So first of all, if I may get a sense or from all of you, the Indian government has flagged an issue of security, of safety. Is it something that has been a problem in these areas?
Yeah, we do not have any security at this point in this area.
Why is it that there is a sense of unease? Why do we, because so far normally it's said that Canada is a very safe space, all communities are living together very happily. What exactly is happening that this kind of a sense is coming out now?
Good questions. There are a lot of violence going on in the general GTA area, and this Khalistani peoples, they are very aggressive, angry. They would come with the swords, the sticks, shouts, angry, and they're not afraid of any community at all. They just want to create a fear. In my opinion, they're only, out of the 800,000 Sikhs, 20% are the Khalistanis, they're strong against India. Other Sikh community, they have no choice but to come under the threat of this other 20%, and that's why they are silent. But inside, I have a Sikh staff in the office, and they say, so look, if we go to Gurudwara, we have no choice but to say yes, 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 otherwise our family is threatened.
So is there this kind of threatening, the question of threats, but what effect is it having on the larger sense of Indian community here in Canada?
Well, basically, let's look at it this way. Even our seniors now, they're feeling so insecure, okay? Even though they haven't attacked us or anything, but the threats we hear on the television, on the media...
That's my question. Because a lot of allegations are being placed on the media that the media is highlighting something, the media is inflating the issue. Is it a media issue, or is something happening on the ground? Are debates happening on the ground?
No, it is not only media.
It is not just media. It is definitely happening. I mean, openly, if Khalistani supporters come out in the open in a crowd with open swords, hockey sticks, big sticks, okay, and nobody says a word to them, well, obviously they've got a clean right to do anything they want. And they feel more adventurous about it. Oh, nobody's going to touch us, because people are afraid of them.
People are afraid of them. How is this translating into the relationships between the two communities? Is there a sense of unease in the Hindu community here?
There is some uneasiness, but when you see the news coming all the time, especially on the TVs, and they're showing this thing, and unfortunately, the officials, the authorities, the government, even the police, they are not showing on the news that, okay, they caught these people or they charge them because they have open sword. And in my understanding, if there is an open sword, that means you have some open weapon in your hands.
So is the government taking any action? That is exactly the question we are seeing here. Is this something that is an administrative problem?
See, government not taking any action on it. I talked to the few MPs. I talk about it. I talk about their government. And they're not taking any action. Even one of the MP is a police department before he was worked there. He said this is no threat. This is a freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and that's we allow here. But what about the weapons? They come with the weapons, and police not doing anything. Their MPs doesn't say anything about it. He says if somebody has a weapon in open, they should be charged. So they don't charge anybody. That was the fear, everybody has it. Okay, suppose I'm going somewhere, and one of the supermarket, there is a Punjabi, everybody's there, and they have a weapon in their hand, they have a kirpan in there, and they go to, the fear, maybe they hit you, because they saw Hindus there.
But the question there then would also be about understanding between religions. Even in India, Sikhs are allowed to carry the smaller kirpans. Everybody knows that. This is not something that's Canada specific. So why is there a sense of unease here in Canada about it?
Because the reason is now, when kirpan by law you're allowed to carry, but when people take it out and swear in front of you, bring it in front of your face and tell you, see what I've got, so be very careful.
Is that happening? That is exactly my question. Is this a media thing? Is it a rumor thing? Is it a WhatsApp university thing? Or is it something that is happening actually on the ground?
It's media showing this thing and we are seeing it. Okay. Also, all these mandirs, temples, they were vandalized. No media has shown that they have charged anybody so far. And this is what...
You are all in charge of this particular temple, right. The Sanatan Dhan temple in Markham. This Sanatan Mandir in Markham. Has there been any such threat or fear here?
No, there is a fear there. Even the authority from Markham city came around and they looked around and they say, look, it should be a little more secure. So what we did, we put some more cameras. We put this around the statue of Sardar Patel. We put this metal pillars so nobody can drive through and damage it. And stuff like this, we are taking the precaution. Because of what we are seeing in the media, what we are hearing around here, and there is no government action.
Speaking of the vandalism of the temples, there have been a couple of such incidents. What is the impact of those on the Hindu community here?
Hindu community generally is scared with these activities because when they come with the open weapon, right, sometimes they damage your vehicle or they will not be able to hit you, but they will damage your vehicle.
Has that happened? That is my question. Has it actually happened or is it a fear?
Yes, it happened in the past. In a couple of demonstrations, it was happened. It was in a Brampton, not in this side, but it was happened in a Brampton, which we saw in a TV also.
Okay. So what is happening in the temples here? What kind of an impact are we seeing especially of the current political and what seems to be a diplomatic and political crisis between India and Canada? What is the impact on the communities here?
Sure. So if I may say that, the impact is big. The people has lost, our devotees lost the trust and confidence on these present governments. Yes. They don't see that any help is coming from these governments, right? So that's first things. The second thing is the impact the business people feels because of not having a good relationship with India. We cannot have a trade agreements. The one was just about to happen, that trade agreement is killed. The third thing we fears, geopolitical issues. United States, England, Australia, whole world wants India to be their side to fight against Russia. And we feel sad that why the present government does not understand that India is the country we need to be inside against the bigger threat. This is really a small issue. They could manage it. They should have managed it. But unfortunately, because they want to stay in power, they're not controlling the issues. Our people feeling unsafe because what they hear outside. And it is true, totally true, because they have threatened these people as complete threatened that we can attack on any temple, any place we like. And they're attacking a small, 3 days before, a small city called Sarnia. You know, this very small Indian community. They went to somebody's home. They were doing a Ganesh Puja, private home. They knocked the door, they went inside, and they vandalized the home because they were Hindu.
Okay. So is this kind of news that's coming, what kind of an impact is it having on the community here?
Well, basically, as I said, we are afraid, including myself. I'm afraid now. We want to say, am I going to be safe going to Brampton on my own now, just in case something happens to my car? What if if a couple of Sardajis come and start talking to me or do something? We are genuinely afraid.
So one issue that I also want to ask a question about is the question of the economic disparity. We're standing here in Markham right now, which is a much more affluent area. Brampton is much more crowded. It is also a slightly less affluent area. Is that also a factor?
Yes, there is a big factor on that one. This side, east side and west side is a big difference on that one. But at the end of the day, east side or west side, any of the MPs or ever, they have not given any Hindu community any assurance about that one. This will not happen again. So there is a big factor on that one.
Thank you very much, all of you, for speaking to India Today. We are seeing a sense of not just unease, but outright fear as the Hindu community in the more affluent areas, more particularly, is sort of closing its gates, making sure that they arrange for security. Is something actually happening, or is this something that is preparation for what may happen in the future? That is something that the Canadian government will have to watch very closely. In Markham, this is Anisha Mathur for India Today.